management, staff of KenGen, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the annual general meeting of KenGen. My name is General Retired Samson Mwathethe, the chairman of KenGen Board of Directors. I am honored to chair my first AGM at KenGen. I'm joined this morning by your directors and other officers of the company, some physical and others virtually. Allow me to introduce those who are present here with me in the live stream. The first one is Mrs. Rebecca Miano, who is the Managing Director and CEO. And then we have Engineer Joseph Njoroge, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Energy. Thirdly, we have David Mwangi, the Acting Company Secretary and Legal Affairs Director. Then we have SPA John Mudani, the Finance and ICT Director. We also have members of the board who are attending this meeting virtually. Those are Honorable Ambassador Ukur Yatani, the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury, Dr. Musa Arusei, Mrs. Phyllis Wakiaga, Mr. Kairu Bashir, Dr. Reginalda Wanyonyi, Mr. Morris Nduranu, Mr. Joseph Sitati, who is away in Kampala, MS Ferris Mwangi, Mr. William Mbaka, who is the alternate director to PS Njoroge, Mr. Humphrey Muhu, the alternate director to CS Yatani, Mr. Peter Nyutu, who is the representative from Inspectorate of State Corporations, and I also introduce the Secretary, Mr. David Mwangi. I now call upon the Secretary to confirm the presence of a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I confirm that a total number of 26,680 shareholders have registered for this electronic AGM. Under our Articles of Association, the quorum for this meeting is 100 members, present either in person or by proxy. I therefore confirm that we do have a quorum for this meeting. Thank you, Chairman.
Having confirmed that we have a quorum present, I declare the meeting to be properly convened and duly constituted. I now call upon the Secretary to read the notice convening this meeting.
Thank you, Chairman. The notice of this AGM, as outlined on pages 234 to 239 of the annual report and accounts, was published in two daily newspapers, that is, the Daily Nation and the Standard, on the 1st and 2nd of April this year. Additionally, the notice was also uploaded on the company's website. Chairman, the notice reads as follows. Notice of the annual general meeting. Notice is hereby given to shareholders that, in accordance with Article 54, uppercase A of KenGen's Articles of Association, the 68th Annual General Meeting of Kenya Electricity Generating Company PLC will be held via electronic communication on Thursday, 22nd of April 2021 at 11 a.m. for the purpose of considering and, if thought fit, passing the resolutions set out below. Ordinary business. Agenda item 1, to table the proxies and note the presence of a quorum. 2, to read the notice convening the meeting. Agenda item number 3, to consider and if approved, adopt the company's audited financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2020, together with the chairman's, directors, and auditors' reports thereon. Item 4, to approve the payment of a final dividend of Kenya shillings 30 cents per ordinary share of Kenya shillings 2 Kenya shillings and 50 cents, subject to withholding tax where applicable, in respect of the financial year ended 30th June 2020. Item 5, to approve the payment of directors' fees for the year ended 30th June 2020. Agenda item number 6, auditors. To note that the audit of the company's books of accounts will continue to be undertaken by the Auditor General or an audit firm appointed by her in accordance with Section 23 of the Public Audit Act 2015. 7, to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. Agenda item number 8, in accordance with the provisions of Section 769 of the Companies Act 2015, the following directors, being members of the Audit, Risk, and Compliance Committee of the Board, be elected to continue to serve as members of the said committee. First, Mr. Joseph Sitati. Second, Mr. Humphrey Muhu, alternate to Kul Yatani, Cabinet Secretary, the National Treasury. Third, Mrs. Firis Wakiaga. 4, Ms. Peres Mwangi. Item number 9, to elect directors. First, Dr. Reginaldo Wanyonyi, who retires on rotation in accordance with Article 104 of the Articles of Association of the company, and being eligible, offers herself for election as a director of the company. Second, Mr. Kairo Mbashia, who retires on rotation in accordance with Article 104 of the Articles of Association of the company, and does not offer himself for election as a director of the company. Third, Dr. Musa Rusey, who retires on rotation in accordance with Article 104 of the Articles of Association of the company, and does not offer himself for election as a director of the company. Agenda item number 10, to consider any other business for which due notice has been given. By order of the board, the notice was signed by the company secretary on the 30th of March 2020. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now turn to item 3 on the agenda, which is to consider and, if approved, adopt the company's audited financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2020, together with the chairman's, directors, and auditors' reports thereon. Shareholders, the 2020 abridged report and the financial statements were made available to all shareholders through a publication in the local dailies, and the full report was made available on the company's website as indicated in the notice convening this meeting. Shareholders, my report to you for the year ended 30th June 2020 is contained in the annual report and accounts on page 14 to 17. I will only give a few highlights of my statement. Our esteemed shareholders, KenGen board members and staff, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today, I am delighted to join you for this virtual annual general meeting. How I wish we were able to hold this meeting physically so that we could meet face to face. That, however, is not possible this year because of the restrictions occasioned by the global COVID-19 pandemic. I thank the government for taking the fight against COVID-19 seriously, and as a company, we will endeavor to do all we can to protect our staff, stakeholders, and the public while ensuring uninterrupted supply of electricity. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the board and management remain optimistic about the company's business. As the board of directors, ours is to safeguard the business, working closely with government, development partners, and other stakeholders. I can assure you that our company is headed in the right direction. With our commitment anchored on consistent generation of clean, reliable, and competitively priced energy, our minds remain open to other profitable ventures that can add coins to our pockets. Our focus going forward is on revenue diversification and overall business sustainability. As you all know, it is through our actions today that our tomorrow can be assured. Going forward, our geothermal-led diversification strategy will remain a priority. We believe this will lead us to greater economic gains. At the same time, dear shareholders, we shall continue to honor our corporate, social, and environmental responsibilities for a better future. Having visited our employees in different areas of operation, I confirm that our commitment towards safeguarding them, since they are our biggest asset, shall continue. For communities living around our installations, we will not cease to extend our hand, whenever we can. That way, we shall maintain the social licenses to operate. As I conclude, let me mention that the leadership of this organization has good intentions, and we will strive to get value for our shareholders. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I wish to thank you all for showing commitment and standing with KenGen over the years. Your loyalty to this great brand is indeed admirable, and we cannot thank you enough for that. Also, let me thank the government and the stakeholders for their dedication during the year. Thank you very much, and God bless you. I look forward to meeting you physically in our future meetings. Please stay safe. Stakeholders, I now invite the Managing Director and CEO of the company, Mrs. Rebecca Miano, to introduce the management team and to brief the shareholders on the year under review and the prospects of the company. Madam.
Thank you, Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me first to introduce the management team. I will start with Engineer Solomon Kariuki, Operations Director, followed by David Mwangi, Acting Company Secretary, Legal Affairs Director, Abraham Serem, Human Resource and Administration Director, Dr. FCPA John Mudani, Finance and ICT Director. Elizabeth Jenga, Acting Business Development Director. Engineer Abel Rotich, Geothermal Development Director. David Muthike, Strategy and Innovation Director. Philip Yego, Supply Chain Director. And Mary Malu, Corporate and Regulatory Services Director. Shareholders, my report to you for the year ended 30th June 2020 is contained in the annual report and accounts on pages 18 to 21 in English and pages 22 to 25 in Kiswahili. I shall take the report as read. The annual report and accounts remain accessible on the company's website. And now, shareholders, I will provide a brief business overview. Looking at the year ended 30th June 2020, we made considerable strides in our areas of operation, and more importantly, this was the period when we realized great milestones in our diversification journey by making entry into the Horn of Africa with commercial drilling contracts in Ethiopia and Djibouti. And similarly, during the period under review, we continued to actualize our business continuity measures by inculcating a safety mindset across the establishment and ensuring prudent use of resources. In regard to support to the communities, we did social work and focused on social, environmental, and economic sustainability. We built classrooms spread across the areas of operation. We worked with communities and schools, and we had 500 schools plant 250 acres of trees. And in a bid to help cushion communities against challenges brought about by COVID-19 pandemic, we donated foodstuffs, masks, sanitizers, and other hygiene products. We leveraged on IT to ensure uninterrupted essential services, and we have incorporated technological innovations in electricity generation to ensure we evolve with the times and remain relevant. In terms of staff safety, we started working in shifts and even remote working and working from home while adhering to all COVID-19 protocols. And in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic and the effects on our business, we continued to be vigilant and ensure that our business runs and we provide electricity that is needed in this country. However, our sales dropped because of the confinement measures that were introduced in April 2020. We also experienced low cash collections. However, we got quite a lot of hope because peak demand later on in the year surpassed pre-COVID peak demand to close at 1980 megawatts. And of course, our debt increased.
Thank you very much, CEO. Shareholders, the statement of directors' responsibilities was also circulated with the annual report and accounts, and it is contained in pages 122. With your permission, we shall take that report as read. I now call upon Mr. David Njoka, the representative of the Auditor General, to read the Auditor's opinion, which is part of the Auditor's report appearing on pages 126 to 132 of the annual report and accounts for 2020. Auditor.
Esteemed shareholders, Board of Directors, staff of KenGen, I'm here to present the audit report of the Auditor General for the year ended 30th June 2020. This audit was delegated to Deloitte and Touche, and they are represented in this meeting. As has been said, our report is at page 126 to 132, and I consider this to be read. However, I will give some highlights. In our reporting structure, we have 3 sections, starting with the report on the financial statements. And in this section, we had an issue to do with emphasis of matter due to amounts from Kenya Power and Lighting Company Limited. The other one was on capitalization of costs. The other reporting section of our report is on roughness and effectiveness in use of public resources as guided by section Article 229, sub-Article 6. And in this one, we had one issue to do with wrong outstanding payables. The report was signed by Nancy Gadongo on the 27th January 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David Njoka. Shareholders, as you are all aware, shareholders were given an opportunity to ask questions and seek clarifications with respect to the financial statements and the resolutions contained in the notice and agenda of this meeting. Thank you for calling. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Daniel Kemodo. I'm a shareholder calling from Nairobi. I have 2 questions, and I'm going to be very fast.
Please do.
Number one is first of all, receive our welcome to the KenGen family, and hope that we will have a good time as we progress together. Thank you also for the dividend. Now, my question is number 1 about the debt that Kenya Power owes KenGen. I think that debt becoming huge day by day, and according to the way the things are going, according to my view, I don't see it being paid sooner or later. So I don't know what the board is doing to make sure that all the debts owed to KenGen are paid, so that maybe the shareholders and even the company can plan on well smoothly. Question number 2. It is the issue which was on the paper maybe last year or so, that KenGen will be selling power direct to customers. I don't know how far that issue has gone, or maybe it was stopped, but I would like to know how far has it gone, or have you concluded the issue of selling power direct to the customers? And then the last one is about, according to the way the economy is, the issue of COVID and everything, do you think there is oversupply of power in Kenyan economy? And if it is so, what are you going to do so that you don't supply more than what is needed in the market? So thank you so much, Bwana Chairman. Those are my questions.
Thank you very much. Those were three. You said two. Next question, please. We'll answer you. Thank you for calling. Your question and where you're calling from, please.
Thank you, Chair.
Keep it brief.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Sally Chepkorir. Mr. Chair, allow me to laud you for posting incredible and impressive results despite the COVID-19. Allow me to laud the Board of Directors and to laud the intelligent capacity and prowessness to steer this company to greater heights. I'm going to ask two questions. Question one, we are aware that it's about innovation. We are aware that post-COVID-19 period will come with heightened demands for the government to reestablish a strong footing to ensure economic and social development. As government parastatal, you have a plan to take this opportunity to ask both the county and national government to find thoughtful ways to balance revenue maximization with boosting business growth. Question two is on SMEs. How is KenGen a resource to SME given the impact of the global pandemic? How does the company assist them get revived or to bounce back now and post-COVID? Thank you very much and stay safe.
Thank you very much for those two questions. We will now attempt to answer the questions that you put forward. The first three questions that were presented by Mr. David Kamodho, we'll ask the PS to give a response. Then there were Mr. Chepkorir also made two questions, and I'll ask the CEO to respond to those. On the issues of dividends and money issues, I will ask our expert, Dr. Mudani, to respond to those questions. But maybe before I give them that opportunity, there was an issue of COVID that keeps coming over and over again. I would like to say that the company is doing well despite us being in this COVID situation. And I've said in my opening remarks that we really thank the government for what they're doing to make sure that this COVID issue is taken seriously. And I want to urge all of you to make sure that the instructions that are given by government are not just instructions. It is for us to adhere to them. And I'm talking like this myself as a COVID survivor. I almost got to the final point, but I thank God that after staying in hospital, receiving oxygen for more than 20 days, I turned around and I'm here with you today. The company will endeavor to make sure that we protect our staff and the public, and we remain optimistic that this situation will go away. So first, we make sure that we are there by the instructions that we are given. And number two, we pray to the Almighty that this situation goes away. Thank you. I will hand over now to the PS to address the questions of Mr. Kimotho. Bona PS.
Thank you, Chair. The first question is a concern on the debt of Kenya Power and Lighting to KenGen. I want to give assurance to Mr. Dungu and the other shareholders that the government, the Ministry of Energy and even Treasury are working very hard to make sure that Kenya Power's financial situation is improved. And there have been very many interventions, some of them that include some delay in some of the obligations of Kenya Power to Treasury, so that Kenya Power can be resuscitated and continue working as a financially feasible organization. I have no doubt that the commitment that is there, that not only involves the Ministry of Energy and Treasury, but also involves the main government, KPOC will be resuscitated and will be able to meet its obligations. And therefore, I would want to give assurance that this debt of KPOC will certainly be paid. Both Kenya Power and Lighting and KenGen are a quoted company in stock exchange, and the government has a major shareholding in both organizations, and therefore the government has the capacity and ability to intervene and ensure that both organizations are indeed working properly and are financially feasible. Indeed, electricity supply is a supply chain. It involves very proper coordination and assurance of financial capacity by all the players, right from generation, transmission, and distribution. In this case, KenGen is mainly the generator, supported also by other independent power producers, while Kenya Power and Lighting plays a major role in the distribution and retailing of that electricity to customers.
I think the next two questions, I'll ask the CEO to take them.
Thank you, Chair. I will respond to the questions that were raised by Madam Sally Chepkorir. And the first one was in regard to innovation. And I want to confirm that innovation is one of our focus areas in KenGen. It is also an enabler of our business. We reserve 1 week every year to receive innovative ideas from our staff, and this has borne fruit. We have implemented quite a number of projects from the innovative ideas. An example is the geothermal spa, and also inspection of our water tunnels using robotics, and many other corporate business processes that have improved. And even today, you can see that we are holding our AGM innovatively virtually, and we have participants from 19 countries today, including the UK, South Africa, India, and many others. We will continue partnering not only with the counties like you have mentioned, but with other entities with the aim of driving down the costs of doing business, and also continuity of power generation. And on the questions on support to the SMEs, yes, we will ensure that we provide power continuously so that SMEs can continue running their business. We also support that particular category in our procurements by reserving 30% of our procurement opportunities to the special groups, that's women, the youth, and persons living with disability. Additionally, we are also a responsible corporate that then adheres to the law in regard to the local content, in support of Kenyan companies, and in support of local manufacturing.
Thank you very much for that response. I will now ask Dr. Mudani to respond to the questions by Mr. Irungu Kimani.
Thank you, Chair. Foremost, Chair, let me thank Mr. Irungu for recognizing and appreciating the improvement in the P&L and also for healthy balance sheet. I want to thank you most profoundly, Mr. Irungu, for those kind comments. Regarding the dividend versus EPS, earnings per share, you've rightly observed that earnings per share grew from 1 shilling and 20 cents in the year 2019 to 2 shillings and 79, while the DPS, dividend per share, was 0.30, having grown from 0.25. Really, this, Mr. Chair, is about our policy. And Chair, as you are aware, the COVID-19 environment brought in a lot of uncertainty. And therefore, as management were considering this dividend, this was put into consideration. Are we able to sustain the dividend? How do we ensure the company remains sustainable? Nobody is quite sure how things will be. So that was put into that consideration. Secondly, Chair, also the issue of cash flow and liquidity was put into consideration. And finally, the issue of ongoing projects. And as the MD did indicate at the beginning in her presentation, we have a number of projects that are ongoing, and KenGen has a component to contribute. So that was put into consideration, Chair, in arriving at the dividend per share in terms of ensuring capacity growth and value creation as we move forward.
The results of the voting on the election of directors shall be published on the company's website. I therefore encourage the shareholders who are yet to exercise their voting rights to do so. Voting will close at the end of this AGM. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of business of this meeting. I take this opportunity to thank you once again for attending this meeting. I acknowledge the support provided by the company's share register, Image Registrars Limited, and thank them for their support in planning this electronic meeting. I now declare this meeting officially closed, and thank all of you indeed. Thank you.